Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministerial statement this morning is to highlight the manner in which preparations were undertaken and activity undertaken in the aftermath of Tropical Cyclone Sarai and Tropical Cyclone Tino. We are now into the 4th month of our tropical cyclone season, and we have had 4 tropical cyclones in the region. And out of these 4 tropical cyclones, only 2 of them affected Fiji so far. These are Tropical Cyclone Sarai and Tropical Cyclone Tino. As I speak, there are 2 further tropical disturbances in our region, TD07F to the north of Rotuma and TD08F east of Samoa. Thankfully, the forecast is that these will move southeastwards and pose no threat to Fiji. But we advise everyone in Fiji to stay up to date with weather information issued from the National Weather Forecasting Center in Nandi, as we are still in cyclone season. TC Sarai was the first event to affect Fiji in the 2019-2020 cyclone season. TC Sarai entered the Fiji group on Wednesday, 25th December 2019, affecting parts of the central, the eastern, the northern and western divisions. For TC Sarai, we recorded the highest rainfall over a 24-hour period of 329 millimeters in Nandarewatu on the 27th of December. Vunisea recorded 211.9 millimeters of rain over 24 hours. This is the highest recorded rainfall in Vunisea since the station started recording in 1929. Maximum wind gust recorded was 107 kilometers per hour in Nandi on the 28th of December, and the lowest air pressure of 981.9 hectopascals at Oneilau on the 30th of December. Weather buoys tethered off the coast of Nambuka-Lawira recorded wave heights of 4.5 to 5 meters, and this is what led to the coastal inundation in the village of Moani in Kandawu. TC Sarai affected an estimated population of almost 78,000 people, with some seeking shelter in evacuation centers, and there were also 2 confirmed casualties and some injuries. The sectors that have been directly impacted by Sarai include water, electricity, roads, telecommunications, education, tourism, and health. Damage to critical infrastructures were minimal. However, impacts disrupted services for water supply, electricity, public transport, and road accessibility. Flights and shipping schedules were also cancelled due to the adverse weather conditions. My ministry coordinated immediate response and relief actions through the emergency operation centers activated at the national, divisional, and district level. National situation reports were distributed via email to the Honourable Prime Minister, members of the National Disaster Management Council, and relevant agencies. The situation reports detail the developments and actions taken in response to the impacts of Tropical Cyclone Sarai. Evacuation centers were opened and accommodated across the 4 divisions under the supervision of the respective divisional and district emergency operation centers. Information on opened evacuation centers was disseminated to the public, and advisories were issued advising the evacuees of the evacuation centers and the preparatory measures they need to take should the need to evacuate arise. A total of 59 evacuation centers were opened, which accommodated 2,040 evacuees. To ensure safety at all times for the evacuees, police officers, a male police officer and a female police officer, were dispatched to the evacuation centers. Additionally, the Ministry of Health also administered measles vaccinations inside the evacuation centers as a precautionary measure. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to touch on the aid coordination that guaranteed assistance to our people. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, DFAT, of the Government of Australia, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, MFAT, of the Government of New Zealand, both have internal preparedness and response arrangements to assist government in the event of a disaster. Their respective response arrangements had been activated and response actions were taken as a result. We are thankful to DFAT for providing a total of Fijian $394,000 to assist government with aviation support to conduct initial damage assessment in Kandawu, the purchase of emergency food rations for evacuees, the deployment of unmanned aerial vehicles or drones, and the purchase of additional food rations for affected populations. MFAT from New Zealand agreed to provide support for the logistics involved in the deployment of the initial damage assessment and the detailed damage assessment teams for the Lao group. A total of more than 254,000 was donated to support food rations, deployment of officers for both the IDA or the initial damage assessment and the detailed damage assessment, and urgent relief effort for water supply. Mr. Speaker, sir, this assistance enabled the NDMO to supply food rations to the respective centres and mobilize a detailed damage assessment team to Kandavu and southern Lao, the primarily affected areas. Upon conducting the detailed damage assessment, we found that in the Eastern Division, it had sustained most damages amounting to $4,042,000, followed by the Northern Division, which had $2 million and more than $925,000 worth of damage, Western Division slightly over $2 million worth of damages, and the Central Division with $1,338,000 worth of damage. The agricultural sector suffered the most damage, followed by infrastructure, housing, and the education sector. The total cost of damage that accumulated from the impacts of Tropical Cyclone Sarai amounted to $10,353,000. On the 12th of January 2020, Tropical Disturbance 04F was located near the Fiji waters. On the 16th, it intensified and became a tropical depression and became a tropical cyclone on the 17th of January and was named as Tropical Cyclone Tino. Tropical Cyclone Tino resulted in significant rainfall in various parts of the country, particularly the central, northern divisions and the northern Lao group. Tino reached Category 2 as it passed through the Fiji group, with gale force winds recorded over the land areas of northeastern Vanuatu and the northern Lao group. Thankfully, Tropical Cyclone Tino did not have the level of impact on the economy that Sarai had. A total of 65 evacuation centres were activated in the Northern Division, with a total of 2,612 evacuees. There was minimal damage recorded for the infrastructure sector. However, the Rotuma jetty felt the wrath of the strong waves that resulted in the partial washout of the jetty causeway. The agriculture sector was again severely affected, with damages incurred to crops. In its recovery measure, Ministry of Agriculture supplied seedlings to affected farmers to replant. The Northern Division has completed its damage assessment for Tropical Cyclone Tino, and the total damage sustained stands at $6,158,000. The sugarcane sector in the Northern Division sustained the most damages, followed by energy, roads, water, agriculture, and the housing sectors. There was no request for food ration, and I applaud the resilience and the cooperation of the people in the North, as warnings and advisories were taken seriously, which led to no casualties in the Northern Division. Mr. Speaker, sir, for the first time in Fiji's history, the Fiji Disabled People's Federation, the FDPF, opened its own Emergency Operations Center during Tropical Cyclone Tino. The center focused on the needs of those living with disabilities. The center consolidated reports and submitted them to the respective divisional emergency operation centers. In doing this, people with disabilities were given a voice and their issues were brought to light. I congratulate the FDPF for taking this proactive approach. And also, in line with the Honourable Prime Minister's statement that no one is left behind, the FDPF provided sign language interpreters who were part of NDMO's media briefs. Tropical Cyclone Tino brought with it substantial rainfall, which led to flash floods in areas that were not usually affected. The Queen's Highway was closed for 4 hours to allow Fiji Roads Authority to clear landslides and ensure public safety. Public advisories were issued on the closure of the Queen's Highway. It was lifted by 12 midnight after clearance was obtained from the Fiji Roads Authority. This action was necessary because public safety is paramount. TC Tino regrettably claimed 2 lives, a school teacher and his daughter. A family is survived by the victim's wife and 4 children. The deployment of humanitarian assistance for those severely affected by Tropical Cyclone Sarai in the Lau group was delayed by a week to allow Tropical Cyclone Tino to pass. A joint detailed damage assessment was then conducted for the Southern Lau group, where the Ministry of Health, Fiji Emergency Management Team, Fiji Management Medical Assessment Team joined the operation, and food rations were also distributed to the affected population. In our effort to promote disaster risk reduction, the FIMED team conducted awareness on proper hygiene measures to avoid morbidity immediately after the cyclone. The NDMO has received the Northern Division Damage Assessment for Tropical Cyclone Tino and is working with the other 4 divisional commissioners on the total damages incurred by Tropical Cyclone Tino. The Ministry will continue to work on improving our goal to minimize loss of lives in the event of a disaster. We will continue to work with our humanitarian partners and donors to ensure that people of Fiji are well informed pre, during and after disaster. We have conducted community-based disaster risk management training to more than 300 communities, and we plan to continue this work. At peacetime, or when we don't have disasters, NDMO conducts working in an emergency operations center training with support from partners to government officials to ensure smooth operations of the emergency operations center in the event of a disaster. In summing up, there are 3 immediate positive outcomes that I have noted. 1, the decentralized approach that we have now adopted, with NDMO working as a national coordinator and controller, working in tandem with rural and maritime development, the first responders, the National Disaster Management Councils, the clusters and other stakeholders. That arrangement has worked quite well when we dealt with Sarai and Tino. Secondly, the new National Emergency Operations Center made a huge difference. We appreciate our development partners that helped to make our new National Emergency Operations Centers to put the NEOC in place. And we also see the immense benefits of having the Fiji Met and the NDMO being placed in the same ministry. Our focus now is to review everything that happened in the month of March so that we can plan for improvements and address areas that will continue to require improvement. And we thank all the stakeholders. We thank the Prime Minister for his leadership and support, the ministers, all the stakeholders, members of the National Disaster Management Council, the clusters, the development partners, the first responders, civil servants and the CSOs that participated, and also my permanent secretary, who is the controller, and the director for NDMO as coordinator, and teams that manned emergency operations all over Fiji. We cannot stop natural disasters, but we can only arm ourselves with knowledge so that many lives would not have to be lost if there was enough disaster preparedness. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.